What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. And in today's video, we're talking about the Brainy KIZUNA clash that was officially announced today on One Piece Treasure Cruise Global. And we're going to be going through all of the boss details so you guys understand what's going on. And we'll also talk about free-to-play teams that are able to be built to take on each of these fights, including what will happen post level 30, because in typical KIZUNA fashion, after level 30, the fights do get slightly more difficult where they add an additional gimmick, and all the free-to-play teams in this video will be able to counter those. So definitely look forward to that. So I guess without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. Shout out to GameWith, by the way, for giving us this information on what the bosses actually do. So this is what the first boss is going to be. This is the versus Psy, the yellow boss, the first boss. You'll see here on the first floor with Usopp, he will reduce the cooldown of INT, Free Spirit, and Powerhouse characters. So you want to build a team predominantly of those characters. On the second floor, you have to deal with the mini boss Luffy. You can see he does have a barrier. You have to hit him with a Psy slot before you actually can deal damage to him. And that's really annoying because, you know, this is a Psy boss. You don't really want to be bringing Psy characters against a Psy boss. So that actually sucks, and he does change your slots into empty. So finding a way to deal damage through that is going to be a little tricky. So you can see empty slots. He does give you the empty slots. He's also got that barrier where you have to hit him with a Psy slot. And after turn 1, he gives you 6 turns of despair. So you want to definitely kill him before that first turn approaches. And then talking about the final stage, now you can see that this gray shield, this is going to be quite common moving forward in KIZUNA. Essentially, it negates all health cut damage done to the boss. So health cuts are basically useless at this point. But one thing to note is that he does have delay immunity, all poison immunity, and the blowaway immunity, but he doesn't have defense down immunity, and the fact that he doesn't have the full immunity means that a lot of different effects where the enemy would typically would not be affected by them, you can use them here, such as like defense down immunity, as we said, but also mirror effect will somehow still work here if you do opt to use that. The negative effect of Mihawk and Perona, but also the increased damage taken debuff from Super Type Kaido, as well as from Final Tap Law, all of which will be affected here, and they'll work really well. Also, the final tap of Law, which gives himself that conditional boost, will also work here as well. So pretty interesting that they're going down that route, but we'll see here that you get given 4 turns of special bind to your sailors, so your captains are not affected by the special bind. You can see that he does have 5 turns of a resilience buff, and he also will have all of those skill damage weakening, which is the normal attacks only, of course. But then he's got the delay, poison, damage decrease, or whatever it's called, the blowaway immunity, health cut reduction, all of those immunities, of course. And then after level 31, your upper left, middle right, and lower left are binded for 8 turns. So in this picture here, it'll be the Sanji, the Whitebeard Marco, and the Ivankov. Those characters will be binded for 8 turns. So you want to bind remover in one of those other 3 slots. So that's very important for this particular fight. So this is the free-to-play team that I've come up with for taking on this particular event. So what we will have is we have Luffy Boa. Now Luffy Boa are very good for this KIZUNA on this fight and also the next fight, because what you can do is you can switch into Luffy form on stage 2, which gives himself a guaranteed matching slot, which means that you can just give himself the size slot to break that barrier on stage 2. And of course, all these characters will have empty slots, but with normal attacks, and especially because Whitebeard versus Shanks is a boosted unit, and I think Rayleigh's also boosted as well, those characters are going to hit very hard on the boss stage, or just on that mini boss stage anyway, so I believe this should be enough to get through it. But then we talk about the final stage. We need to get around special bind, and then of course bind will happen after level 31. So we have Hody Jones here, who gets rid of the special bind. He gets rid of the bind for you, which is great. For the resilience buff, we've got the KIZUNA Kid, who's a good captain, 3.75 to strength and int characters, but also his special ability providing that effect of getting rid of that resilience for you. That's very good. And then also you've got an orb booster in the Kizaru, and you've got the attack booster and base attack booster of Whitebeard. Very good damage. And of course you'll switch back into the dual form and the special of this Boa Hancock to give you color affinity. So with all of these specials active here, we are going to have a huge amount of damage here. So for a free-to-play team reaching 96 million damage, plus not even adding like cotton candies or maximum potential limit breaks that you may have, but also the fact that some characters are going to be boosted, the amount of damage this team is going to do is pretty good for a raw free-to-play team. So now we can have a look at the secondary boss, which is the INT variation. On floor 1, you'll get cooldown for your PSY characters, your free spirit characters, and shooter characters. So build a team of these characters to help you get through it a lot easier. Second floor, we have a mini boss Zora, who is also a PSY unit, and he has 2.5 million, and he just gives you a 4 turn of chain coefficient reduction. So obviously you can bring a unit to remove that, or you can just go ahead and bring a chain locker for like multiple turns. That's probably the most ideal way to get through this here. And then on the final boss stage, you have the Brook, and of course he is the INT typing this time. You can see for his buffs, he does actually have the immunities back, and you can still reduce his defense, you can still apply negative, you can increase his damage taken, you can still do all of that. He does have the gray shield once again. Attack down is inflicted, and you see a full board of bomb slots. It's pretty annoying. So bomb slots, attack down, he has the immunity stuff and the blowaway immunity and all that. So like all the basic stuff, but you know, the basic stuff you do have to know of is the attack down and the bomb slots conversion. Those are the key things you really have to know for this fight. But then you'll see that after level 30 or 32, I think it is, he does give himself 5 turns of increased defense. Now, remember, as we said, it does do increased defense, but he doesn't have a defense down immunity. So you can actually reduce his defense. Like, hypothetically, if you're using the new Mugiwara Sanji, you can have Onami support on that Sanji to remove that defense once that gets activated a little bit later on. So that's actually pretty cool that you can do that for this particular fight. And that's pretty much all you really need to know for this fight in terms of the gimmicks. So this is the free-to-play team that I'm suggesting here. Now, we do have a free spot here because legit, I actually don't know what to put in this last slot because this already gets rid of everything. As we said, on Battle 2, you have to deal with the chain coefficient reduction. Katakuri gives you 3 turns of a 2.75 times chain lock, so that immediately counters that. Now, as we mentioned, you do need to remove the defense on the final stage after you get to level 32. Franosuke is great because you can use his special ability on stage 2, and if you hit 2 perfects, when you reach the final stage, he's going to reduce all enemies' defense by 100%, and he gives you a 2 times conditional against reduced defense enemies. Such a good effect to have. So you can literally have this free-to-play unit that gives you a conditional and removes the defense for you after that threshold level. Now, the attack down, we can use Weevil to remove, plus it gives us an attack boost. We've got a full board of slots, base attack boost, and an orb boost with Shanks, and we have a full board of slots once again, and a color affinity boost with the Luffy and the Boa. So when we go ahead and activate all of our damaging buffs, like, we just have so much damage here. We want this buff to activate here, and we want that to activate, like 157 million for a free-to-play team, and you have a free spot to put whatever you want. So this is going to be working for a pretty long time, I would think, for this KIZUNA. Pretty awesome team. So now we can talk about the final boss, which is a strength boss. So you want to build a quick team, as the characters that receive cooldown on the final fight get quick, free spirit, and cerebral. Those are the characters that receive cooldowns. Battle 2, you can see Sanji here has 4 turns of damage threshold, and that's it. That's all he's got there. 2.5 million damage. And then he does have the final boss, the Strength Brook. You can see here that, you know, the same immunity buffs kind of apply here, but you see you got a full immunity buff and an immunity to blow away specifically. But you see that there is the percent damage reduction you have to deal with, and normal attacks only. Block orbs will be here as well. So as we see, block orbs, damage reduction, and that's it. But there is also 1 turn of special reverse after level 30. So in terms of getting around all of that, we are going to be using this team right here, which is going to be using Final Tap Luffy. Now, Final Tap Luffy is great because his super type gives you that -1 cooldown, and it does give you a chain boosting effect. So that immediately gets around the level 30 gimmick. But then in terms of the block slots, we can use the Onami and Usohachi, which help proc the super type of Luffy, but they are only here to change block orbs into matching. We do have the Kuja Pirates as our captain because they boost shooter and free spirit characters by 3.75. Obviously, Bullet is not affected by that, but he's mainly here just because he's a huge color affinity booster. Definitely replaceable, of course. But then the other thing is because our HP is past that certain threshold, and after characters have their boosted HP and everything, you're going to be over 50,000 HP. At least I would think. I'm pretty sure this team should be able to reach over 50,000, and if that does get to activate, you get the conditional boost from Kuja Pirates. So you'll have the attack boost from Luffy, you'll have the Kuja Pirates conditional boost, you're going to have the Douglas Bullet color affinity, you're going to have Buggy, which is mainly just here as a chain boundary effect, like super replaceable of course, the chain boost from Luffy of course, and also the local sea monster. Now local sea monster recently got buffed on global. Now his special ability removes 4 turns of damage threshold, so you can use it on stage 2 and you'll get an orb boost on the following stage, so you get the 2 times orb boost, which is great. 112 million for a free-to-play team is exceptional, and as we said, characters here are replaceable. Bullet isn't even boosted by Kuja Pirates at this point, and we're still reaching very high damage potential. So as we said, you know, characters here are relatively replaceable. If you've got better units, definitely use them, like Ace and Sabo, or if you've got your own copy of Luffy, you'd rather use him as the captain of course, but a pretty good team that should be able to get the job done for a while. But with all that being said, that is going to conclude this video. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it, and hopefully you guys learned something in terms of what to be expecting for this KIZUNA clash. And if you guys did enjoy the video, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all of the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But other than that guys, I will see you guys within the next video.